Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we have the gameplay and review of Peter Pan in Disney Mirroverse, so let's get straight into it. Before the video starts, if you are new, please like and subscribe for more videos on the channel, and also follow my Twitter in the description down below to stay updated with brand new videos coming out very soon. So first, I just want to inform you guys that I'm part of the KCP, the Kabam Creator Program. So I get these Guardians every single month and I get to make videos and upload them to YouTube. But the catch is they get taken away from my account after a certain amount of time. So I don't get any benefits from actually making these videos and using these Guardians. So we're just going to get straight into it. So we've got Peter Pan here. He's a melee Guardian. We're going to go over his abilities and just explain everything. So we're going to start with the core ability. So Peter Pan's basic attacks have a 20% chance to grant him a 30% evasion buff that lasts for 10 seconds as long as he doesn't have an evasion buff. So you can see in the gameplay, this is the evasion buff. You just want to use your basic attacks, and when you get this evasion buff, this is where you get all the utility from and how you use Peter Pan in the correct way. You want to get this evasion buff, so you just want to use your basic attacks to gain this. And basically what this evasion buff is it allows a target to avoid basic and heavy attacks dealt by enemies. No damage is taken when the target successfully avoids an incoming attack, so you just evade your enemies. So you want to make sure you always have this evasion buff, and I'll explain why as we continue this video. So whilst Peter Pan has an evasion buff, his heavy attack gains 15% critical chance, and dashing through his target inflicts them with a minus 20% focus debuff that lasts for 10 seconds. Now this can stack up twice, so you can get up to 40% focus debuff. So basically what you want to do is you want to get this evasion buff by using your basic attacks, and then you want to use your heavy attack and it grants 15% critical chance, and then at the same time when you're dashing through your targets, they're going to get a 20% focus debuff. So basically the playstyle is get this evasion buff, dash through your enemies, and then use your heavy attack or your special attack, and we'll go into that a little bit later on. So Peter Pan's heavy attack deals 2 hits totaling 300% damage, and that's where most of the damage is going to come from, using that heavy attack. So we're going to go over to the special ability. Peter Pan deals 2 hits totaling 400% damage and inflicts knockback. So if his target has a focus debuff, this attack grants 50% critical chance. So you want to get those focus debuffs, and you get those focus debuffs from using your heavy attack, so you want to use them a lot. So yeah, you get that 50% critical chance and it just deals more damage. So if Peter Pan has an evasion buff, he grants a 25% focus buff that lasts for 10 seconds, otherwise he gains the evasion buff from his core ability. So what you want to do is you want to use your basic attacks, you want to get that evasion buff in the first place, you want to dash through your enemies twice, and then you either want to use your heavy attack or you want to use your special attack, and it will both deal significant amounts of damage. So yeah, basically that is how you use Peter Pan, and that's how you get the most damage out of him. So moving on to the signature ability, Peter Pan's evasion buff is increased by an additional 5%. If Peter Pan uses his special ability whilst he has an evasion buff, he grants a 25% focus buff that lasts for 10 seconds to other allies. So this increases as it goes up. So this is currently at level 1, and if we let's just say we get it to level 33, it goes from 5% to nearly 15% already at level 33. So yeah, it increases it by a lot. So basically the invasion buff, you're just going to be invading way more, and it will just make him harder to actually play against. So yeah, you want to level up his signature ability because it's just very important to him to avoid those attacks. So that's basically how you play Peter Pan. You just want to use your basic attacks until you get that evasion buff, and then you want to dash through your enemies twice. Either use a heavy or you want to either use a special, up to you, depends on how close you are to that special ability, and you just want to deal as much damage as possible. Now moving on to the talents, we have the first advanced one. When Peter Pan avoids an attack with his evasion buff, he grants a 15% focus buff that lasts for 10 seconds. Now this stacks up 3 times, so you can get a good amount of focus buff applied to Peter Pan, and this just increases focus, and when you increase focus, it increases critical chance and it just deals more damage. So this is a decent advanced talent to apply to Peter Pan. Now moving on to the next one, critical hits from Peter Pan's heavy attack inflict the target with a minus 17% focus debuff that lasts for 10 seconds, and this stacks up twice. So it's just more focus debuffs, and it's just applying so much more. And the more focus debuffs you have, the more critical chance you're going to have on your special ability. So yeah, you just want to have this applied, and it will just increase the amount of damage you do. Basically this guy is just a glass cannon. He's all about the damage. And the final advanced one, allies gain a 12% focus buff and a 12% attack buff at the beginning of each combat. Gravity defying allies are immune to root as long as Peter Pan is in the encounter. So this is going to be really good for gravity defying guardians. So we have these guardians here. There's a decent amount here. Ariel, Mickey, Buzz Lightyear, Hero, Violet, Zurg. Some really important guardians that are actually part of this become immune to roots. So yeah, pairing them up with one of these guardians is just going to be so much better. And at the same time, you're going to gain more focus and attack at the same time. All your allies are just going to get way stronger as well. Now moving on to the elite talent. When Peter Pan avoids an attack with his evasion buff, he immediately deals 33% damage to his current target as long as they are next to him. So it's just more damage. And the best thing about this is why this is so good. If you have your signature ability higher, you're going to be evading so much more. So you're just going to be dealing so much extra damage to all of your enemies that are next to you. So this elite talent is really good. Now we're just going to go over his bio and we're going to look at his trait. So Peter Pan is a medium guardian. He's a leader, blade wielder, gravity defying, goofball and stealthy, so some good traits there. So overall, Peter Pan looks like a really good melee guardian in this game. He's very unique the way you have to play him by using your basic attacks to get that evasion buff, and then when you've got the evasion buff, you've got to dash through your opponents twice and then either use your heavy attack or your special ability to deal maximum damage. So we're just going to get into some gameplay now to see how he actually is in game. So moving on to the gameplay, we're just going to talk a little bit about Peter Pan and some of his abilities and some key information you need to know about him. So what abilities does Peter Pan have? So Peter Pan can grant himself an evasion buff, which allows him to avoid incoming basic and heavy attacks. So Peter Pan can dash through his target to inflict them with a focus debuff, and he can get up to 2. And Peter Pan's heavy and special ability attacks deal multiple hits. And then Peter Pan's special ability and heavy attacks have an increased critical hit chance. And Peter Pan can also grant himself focus buffs with his special ability and also his talent. And his signature ability allows him to grant focus buff to all of his allies. He also has a talent that allows him to inflict defense debuffs on critical hits, and he can also make other gravity defying allies immune to root, including himself, because he is a gravity defying guardian. With the elite talent, he is immune to roots. So Peter Pan can automatically deal damage back to enemies who miss when he successfully avoids an attack with his evasion buff. So it's just extra damage. Now Peter Pan's playstyle, you want to play him, you don't want the AI to actually control Peter Pan, because you have a certain rotation where you use your basic attacks and then you dash through your enemies twice and then use either a special attack or a heavy attack, and obviously the AI ain't going to do that sometimes, so you really want to control Peter Pan. So what enemies does Peter Pan counter? Peter Pan's evasion buff allows him to avoid incoming basic and heavy attacks, making him a great counter to enemies who deal lots of hits, such as Zurg. He's great against high damage dealers who stack attack, like Ariel. Because of his evasion buff, he's good at standing in the front line against tough tanks like Mr. Incredible. So a few guardians there, including Zurg, who's really annoying to fight. He's going to be good against him. So who is best at defeating Peter Pan? Guardians who deal lots of damage with their special ability are great against Peter Pan, since his evasion buff can't protect him from special damage. He's also weak to damage over time effects like bleed, shock, burn and so forth. Enemies like Gaston are particularly strong against Peter Pan when they manage to land their hits. He's also weak to Cusco, since Cusco's bind prevents Peter Pan from using his attack, which starts his evasion buff loop. So Dory is also great against him, and also Woody. So what's my overall thoughts on Peter Pan? I think he's honestly a really good guardian to have in the game. I think his biggest downfall has to be sometimes his playstyle can be a little bit too hard to avoid the damage. His evasion buff is really good, but you're going to need that signature ability at a high level to avoid as many hits as possible. If you're not avoiding those hits, you're going to take a lot of damage even with a Sig 1 or whatever Sig you have him at. So yeah, basically his biggest downfall is you need him at a high Sig. That's not really a downfall, to be honest, because his utility, his kit, him as a guardian himself, he's amazing. And I think over time he's going to be one of those guardians that get overlooked at the beginning, and over time his uses are just going to increase and he's going to become one of the best guardians in this game. I think he's really good, and I'm really impressed by his design, and also his rotation is just really fun. The way you can stack up that critical damage and deal so much damage. If I have to rate him out of 10, currently based on everything, I would give him a solid 8.5 out of 10. I think he's the best guardian this year because we've only had 2. He's personally better than Cusco, and I'm excited to see where I can use him in the future, and I'm definitely going to be going for him in the crystals, so look out for that video. So yeah, overall, I think he's an amazing guardian, and if you do get him, definitely take them up. So that is it for today's video. If you did like it, please leave a like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.